Hello and welcome. I am in the beautiful Muskoka region of Ontario, and I want to show you a great project that we were lucky enough to work on. Is the renewal of a cottage that was built probably about 20 years ago, and it's really a classic style, and it's got so many interesting elements in it. You are going to love this, and you're going to want it in your own home. So follow me, come in. Okay, so let us start a wonderful home tour. So I'm standing in the foyer. Again, this house existed. We renewed it because there was a lot of this before. There's still all the knotty pine that's in here, as well as natural hemlock floors, which is a natural wood found in the area. But I want to talk to you about how to make this kind of wood color and look really blend into some of today's trends. Today's trends tend to be a lot lighter or darker with no wood, or the wood is very bleached. This color is wonderful. It's warm, it's earthy and natural. And that's one of the things our client said. We really want to maintain that Muskoka cottage feel, and that is what we have done. So in here, as you come into the foyer, we added new tile, which is a porcelain tile. So something that's advanced from the time when they built the cottage. And we put it in to look like an old brick or herringbone pattern. So the inspiration is a little bit English cottage, where you have textures that tend to be found in that old English Tudor home. So that's one of them here. Our bead board that was existing, we maintained and painted so that it was a lot lighter to allow that wood to stand out. So we have the wood, the hemlock on the floor, and above me I have the knotty pine, which is beautiful. And then we have knotty pine door trim. Beautiful. We didn't change this. All we did was renew it, clean it up. We kept the transom, a beautiful feature that the architect added in originally, and we painted the walls light so that we had brightness at eye level. So in that vein, we made sure that our doors, which had been pine, were also painted. We painted them, this is a dark gray, so that it allowed the hardware to stand out, and it gave us a little bit of separation from our trim work, our floor, our ceiling, to not all being in the knotty pine. So it's a little bit more broken up. She had a great art collection. We took this and we reframed them all in the very simple black floating frames, and again worked on that principle of contrast. And that's what you do when you have a lot of wood, and it's not the wood that's necessarily what's in style right now. I happen to love this and think it's never ever out of style. It's absolutely the best, most comfortable look. Okay, next room. This is gorgeous. Now I have to tell you again, we did not build this space. We simply renewed it. We gave it a refresh, but I want to focus on a bunch of amazing features that were already here and how you can use decor and color and just make it beautiful. Originally, it was all painted like a deep kind of mustard yellow color, because at the time, 20 years ago, that was the idea. You blended in your woodwork to the wall. But today, to refresh it, we put a white on the wall. And although it seems counterintuitive, what it does is it lets our woodwork really stand out, and the features like our wood-burning fireplace to really be a feature. So we had these sofas made through a company called MarcAntonio, and we put on it really good durable fabrics. So it's all in textures of light colors, but made out of fibers that are made to wear. So this living space is super comfortable. Like you can't do better. Honestly, it's so perfect. And this is a room you might use at night where it's cozy, or in the wintertime because you've got this wonderful picture window that overlooks the lake. We added some wood elements, which are pretty similar in color to what's already here. So we added the oversized wood coffee table as well as the side table. So you always want to make sure you have good corners, because that's where people like to talk. They will not talk across from each other because it's just not comfortable. So this is a good conversation area here. We added 2 ottomans at the end here so that, again, people could talk, cross-talk. And then we added 2 additional chairs in front of the window. Now, these chairs are actually swivel chairs. So again, you want to think about how you're going to use the space when you're picking your furniture. Of course, it is how it looks, but it's also how it works. And this gives me the ability to turn and talk to someone else, turn here and talk to someone else, or again, look out at the lake, winter or summer. All right, so here we are in the kitchen. This is just a beautiful space, and there was a lot that we actually did in here. We redid the whole area, but a couple things that were really important. Because the building was an older building, built just over 20 years ago, there was just wood on the ceiling here. So you couldn't really get the light in here because, of course, technology has changed over the last 20 years, where now we have pot lights that are really slim. So at the time, there was really no lighting here. It was very hard to get good lighting. They had kind of a string of some kind of track light, and that really didn't work well. So we were fortunate. The existing beams remained, and we added in a drop ceiling made out of the same material, the beadboard, and allowed us to run electrical. So we got good lighting here, and we added some white on the ceiling to give us some bounce. Then what we did, keeping with the idea of adding contrast, we added light cabinets all the way around on the upper. So we're made by State Interiors. And then we added dark oak below. Now, this is, of course, not the same color as what we have on our floor over here, but it's a grayish black brown. So it picks up on the colors that is in the hemlock floor, and we brought it in here. We did add in a tile, so it's nice and durable. Let's remember, all the parties happen in the kitchen, so we want to make sure we've got the durability. We did add onto the surface a natural stone product. This is called Black Tempest, and this just happens to be a spectacular piece of it. It's got a giant vein through here. This is a very strong, durable stone. And then we have a black apron sink, which blends into the surface, and our bridge faucet. It's just a beautiful combination of materials. And I have to say, like, look at this view, how you get this west sun in the afternoon, and how it just skids across the surface and follows our vein. I didn't do that. Lots of other people did that, but I happened to work out in a beautiful area. World Stone did our countertop, and you did a wonderful job at laying out the surface. You'll notice that we have a lot of drawer storage, and I would really encourage this if you have the opportunity to redo your kitchen at any point. Yes, you do pay more for this, but it gives you better general storage overall, because it's easier to see in than when you have a door and you have to open and climb below. So we do try to do that as much as we can. The other thing that we did here was we added what I call a mantle. Basically, it's a way to install the hood fan up and over, but because we're working in a cottage where we couldn't add bulkheads, this gave us the ability to vent out the front of the building without having the vent visible, which we did not want. This also mirrors the idea of what the fireplace is like. This arc here is very similar to the arc that's over top of the wood-burning fireplace. So picking up these little details really reinforce the existing design and allow it to be a thoughtful consideration when you're doing a renovation like this. This is our homeowner's existing dining table, which we kept. So we added these really modified Windsor chairs to it. So they're a lower back, and they're out of a nice oak finish. So again, very durable. And then we added the seat pillows to them to make it more comfortable for long-term seating and dining. When you have the combination of a kitchen right beside a dining table, one thing to think about is not having your chairs too high back if you feel that the space may not be as big as you thought it was when you were putting everything together. So in this case, we knew that we didn't have a ton of space, so we didn't want really high and heavy chairs because it kind of creates a wall or a half wall. This type of chair is a little bit lower and keeps it open, an important aspect in a room like this. Added in this full storage unit. This piece was made by State Interiors for us, and we love that we were able to add in this little detail of hardware. You used to see these in vintage homes a long time ago, added to cabinets, jam cabinets. My grandma had one. Here we've added it to our doors because it gives it that vintage feel. Again, the cottage is modeled on the idea of an old English garden, old English home, one of the old Tudor homes. And of course, this is very authentic to the Muskoka area. Fluted or reeded glass just allows us to basically hide what's here, but not frosting because now I can see through a little bit and know that something's happening. It just adds life to the space. Oh yeah, here we are. This is one of the main floor guest bedrooms. So we whitened the walls so that we had the wood on the ceiling to add that warmth. So the walls are neutral. The beadboard was already there. We just repaired it where it needed to be. And then we decorated. You know, sometimes decorating is all you need. And this is a great example where buying different furniture really changes how the room feels. So in this case, this bed is nice and upholstered here, and then we have our wood legs on the end, so it's soft and gushy. So imagine if you're a guest, or think of yourself as a guest, and what is it that's going to make them excited when they walk in? Well, for me, it's seeing an amazing bed, because I think, oh my God, I heard that at home. I love that. So all the beds in here are king. And if you have a cottage or another property, or you are redoing your house and you can fit in a king, definitely do that, because it allows you to always have a couple or couple and kids all in one room. So we have the king. We have the big, giant, what we call super Euros out the back. You'll notice this. So really big sham that sits here. So large, oversized, so you only need 2. And then we have our 3 really large scale pillows. And yes, believe it or not, I have dusty rose in here with what I would call a knotty pine, orangey apricot ceiling color. So don't worry about picking your colors. Pick any color you want as your accent, as long as your walls are neutral. Whoa, oh, here I am. Welcome to the principal suite on the main floor. They can preserve the upstairs of the house or the lower level for when they have guests. Otherwise, they can live on the main floor. We redecorated in here, repainted all the walls so that they were light, kept the wonderful existing ceiling. Then, to break it up further, we did that through our bed and bedding. So again, all these light textures all layered on top of each other, and then a touch of navy, just a little bit. So instead of black, could have done black, we just said, let's do something a little bit lighter and softer. But honestly, when you walk in and you see this, pretty hard not to sort of love a bed with pillows. So tossed pillows are the first 3. These are our Euros, and then our shams are the sleeping. So you'll notice here that our dresser is actually a different wood color than our floor. And our floor is just a little bit darker than our trim and so on. What I would do is I would classify this room as largely a knotty pine or hemlock kind of color, which is kind of an orangey yellow. I've added in another wood color here. Now, you don't always want to do this. I could have also done this in the color that's the dominant wood. That would have stood out more. By picking another neutral wood, which could have been a dark brown, a black, or as we did here, a taupe, it helps to blend it in because it's not part of the room's dominant architecture. So if it's stuck to the wall, like the trim here and the ceiling, that's the dominant guy. The next one is more your accent wood. So this could have also been a very light oak, blondie oak, and it also would not have dominated. So I hope that makes sense when we're talking about how to add in more than one wood color to a room when you have a lot of woods. Let's look at a principal bathroom that has lots of wood, but also lots of lightness. Come on. Our principal bathroom here is just beautiful. It is very different than what I think most people would pick if they have all sorts of wood throughout the house. Now, in here, we actually added texture to the ceiling because there was already beadboard on the walls. So we simply repeated it and added more. That way, we have this nice texture all the way around. This helps give warmth when you're removing warmth. For instance, our floor is very, very light and almost no texture at all. So we wanted to make sure we added warmth in another way. Here, there is really a mix of colors. So you have navy blue. This almost looks black, but it's actually navy blue. This was a custom color on our tub. And then we added in lots of this light oak color. Now, again, we could have done the same color as our trim work that's already built in, if you were, so that it all blended together. But to lighten up the space and to allow a big piece like this to not stand out as much, we did it in a bleached oak. So it's super light, this here, and then our matching table over here. So it kind of disappears into the walls. And we didn't want to just do white, because again, we wanted that more crafted feel, woodsy, speaks to the area, the fact that this is just a wonderful cottage bathroom. We have natural stone on top with our two beautiful sinks. They're beautiful because they cut down, they're what we call a diamond cut, and then a hexagon cut for our faucets. So again, a vintage feel that just adds more character to the space. And that character is here through shape and form, not just through color and pattern. And then our walls here, that was detailed and selected by Christine in my office, she put together all these different combination of tiles. So she has the square tile here, and then the sister tile over here in a subway tile in an alternating pattern to just give it a really different feel. And she built this little ledge all the way across so that it took in the ledge of the windows, so that we had a place, if you're in the tub, you have a place to put things, and then you can see it runs all the way into the shower. So instead of having a niche, it just gives you a surface on which you can put your shampoo and everything like that.